In we go into game number 1. Welcome everybody to Beasty versus Wam. This is day number 3 of the Elite Classic. Joining me is Crackedyhere for this best of 3 here between Wam, currently on the 4th place of the leaderboard, versus Beasty occupying the 2nd spot. We will have on the left side Beasty spawning in as the Abbasids with the color yellow, and to the right it is Wam with the English in blue.
Indeed, here we go on EGC Lipany, one of my favorite maps in the game. I really love this version of Lipany. It's just so much more consistent in the way that it spawns, and it's just way more fun to play. On the normal Lipany, you have like these really massive hills that can sometimes block off an entire part of the map. EGC Lipany, however, it spawns with like these hills that kind of surround a sacred site in the middle. It's just really consistent and really nice in the way that it spawns. Lipany, typically, we still have a lot of berry bushes, so Abbasid Dynasty here going to be really fine when it comes to food. English here for Wam. It's going to be interesting to see what he can do here if we're going to be seeing a second town center early on from the English. Probably, considering that it's going to be hard for Wam to pressure Beasty early on in this game.
Yeah, that's a fair point that you bring up, indeed. Abbasids is one of those old-school picks for a map like Lipany. A lot of berries, pretty straightforward selection. On the other side, Wam's English is a little less common, but with how the map generated for him, he has a legitimate chance of playing second DC himself. There is a ridge in front of his base, a ridge on the northern flank as well. All the forests are spawning to the front as well, so his base is very well wallable. So you really feel like for Wam, a second DC is a realistic possibility, maybe playing into that semi-fast castle approach with the King's Palace, or just going 2 DCs and then maybe going with the White Tower, just trying to escalate his army production a little faster than Beasty can.
Yeah, I think the best game plan for him might probably be to just go for that fast feudal age, then just pump out like 2, maybe 3 longbows just to delay Beasty a little bit, maybe force him into a stable early on. And behind that, just go for a second TC himself and scale himself that way. And I think maybe it's going in that direction, as he's only got 2 villagers right now on the council hall. Makes me think that he's going to go for a fast second TC here.
Indeed, only 2 villagers being sent over there. It's interesting to discuss this because Wam, he has had a bit of a story yesterday, let's just say that. He's been, well, he kind of figured he would just cast the B versus Zerton set, only ended up casting a 3-hour game on, I think it was Highview. But one of the bigger takeaways from that stream actually was how he assessed him building the council hall with the English in the game that followed. He said he normally builds it with 3 villagers, so as you pointed out, sending only 2 kind of makes you feel like he's going to focus very heavily on gathering those resources, possibly even for a second DC, as you mentioned.
Yeah, but instead we see him move out with 8 villagers onto deer, so that's going to be a lot of food income for him. So the macro doesn't quite match up when it comes to making the second TC, and now it starts getting a little bit interesting. He doesn't have survival techniques yet, but he does have a villager on gold, is now adding the barracks. So I guess I've been a little bit bamboozled here. This isn't going to be a second TC. This is going to be a lot of aggression early on here from Wam.
Could very well be. Off the back of that hunt, especially if he gets survival techniques, that's going to fuel his food economy very well. And as you said, barracks coming in already. There's the survival techniques, the score is pointing out. With the survival techniques, you'll have the longbows, you'll have the spearmen, and you could potentially direct where Beasty can place that second TC if Beasty goes for a second TC himself. He's aging with the economy in Wink so far, but he's yet to send out the villagers to Stone, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was Beasty that said that you probably can't do like a fast second TC against English anymore. So I wouldn't be surprised if he instead goes for like first a military production building, very likely going to be stable first, and after that look for that second TC. We see a house now, no stable yet, doesn't have the wood for it yet. He does send villagers out to Stone. He is getting wheelbarrow as well at the same time. Further Crescent also halfway complete. Maybe it is going to be a fast second TC. Would be a little bit surprising. I mean, I guess Wam kind of makes it possible for him, just based on how slow he aged up. But now Beasty did spot that barracks. Wondering if he's still going to go for that really fast second TC now. Yeah, he is still on Stone. Only with 3 villagers though, and there's the stable. Alright, so he is going to react with at least a couple of units now.
Notice the scouts being very active for both players. Before Beasty making a choice to go on the stone, he was scouting what Wam was up to. He was waiting for that uptime to kick in. And also on the other side, you have Wam's scout over here, very active, checking out that stone. He should have vision on that stable as well. So right now, both players are very aware of what the opponent is doing. Big difference is that Beasty is sitting on no army as compared to Wam, who already has multiple spears. He's got some longbows coming as well. And at the pace Beasty's collecting stone, he's not going to have that second TC placed before the longbows arrive.
Yeah, and Wham is already pulling a villager forward, so this is going to be a longer-lasting push from the looks of it. He's going to be placing an outpost. He's going to try to fortify his forward position on top of Beasty's resources. And yeah, I think Beasty, he's going to need more than just horsemen to deal with this. I hope he's dropped on his archery range already, because he's going to need mass archers, mass horsemen, if he wants to compete with the English here early on. Right now, 1 to 10, 1 to 11 military units out on the field. And now the stone mine, he's not going to be able to gather any more stone for that for the time being. And this is where it gets a little bit dicey for him, because he's already gathered like 180 resources of stone that he's not going to be able to use for the foreseeable future now.
Yeah, that's an understatement. I mean, as you mentioned, this is starting to get very worrisome for Beasty, especially if you look at the forest positions as well. Both of the forests are to the north, and whatever he's making, horsemen, archers, these will be very wood-heavy units. So Wam will work towards denying those resources, and there are basically no good backups for Beasty to work with. As you mentioned, he's been pushed away from the stone. He's outnumbered 15-5 on the army department. It's gotta be a challenge to break out of this one.
Yeah, as long as Wham is going to be able to consistently produce units here, just to keep up with the mass from Beasty that he's going to want to produce here, he's going to be in a really good spot. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a bait now for the English player. They're like, okay, we got a really, really good resource bank right now. Well, not resource bank, but like an army count right now. So it's probably time to make a ram now. I think that's usually a mistake to go for the ram that early in the game. It's probably better to just mass up more and more longbows, maybe even grab some attack upgrades on those longbows. Just because they're so great at denying resources with their bonus range, +2 bonus range, it makes it so easy to just deny these resources from the opponent. And now we can see Beasty has to pull all of his wood villagers. That's a lot of idle time on these wood villagers, and they're just, even once they transition to that opposite wood line, doesn't mean that they're going to be able to necessarily gather a lot of wood from that one, because Wham is already pulling his units around. With that outpost, he knows that that Beasty just pulled all of his villagers.
Yeah, I love the use of the scout to the south by Wam. He keeps an eye out in the forest, and with line of sight being present, the longbows can just fire over the forest. And of course, he sees no lumberjacks there. He's just going to shift to the north. And Beast is also struggling for food. He only has 40 food in the bank. His berries are near depleted, / denied. He isn't taking them right now, simply afraid of the longbows that could pick off villagers there as well. And you see he only has 2 sheep left to work with, so it's not like he will be able to sustain staying in this position for long.
He just had the resources that he needed to drop his second TC. With the Fertile Crescent, he only needs 300 wood, and now he does have the resources. Is he going to drop his second TC, maybe with like 10, 12 villagers, drop it onto a wood line? And then he's going to be able to finally start gathering wood in peace again. And oh, the military right now for Beasty, though, it's a little bit out of position. Beasty is going out for resource now, but at the same time, military is going to be caught off guard here from Beasty, isn't it? Where are the units going around? Okay, never mind. It's just the more mobile units that are just running around there for now.
Yeah, that's a good distraction, though. Wam's got a slow-moving army. Beasty was able to drag away attention, and right now he's getting that second DC going. Critically, he only lost 1 villager, so despite all this pressure from Wam, Beasty only lost a single villager, and he will have the second DC up. Army numbers are getting close. You really feel like Beasty is stabilizing here, and this push is starting to stall out for Wam.
I'm not sure if this is going to be stabilizing here, because if anything, this now gives a clear target for Wam as to what he wants to attack here out on the map. And that's going to be that second TC. It's so far away from the main base, and we see siege engineering already been researched. I think first ram is going to be built right now. This is going to be a prime location for Wam to harass him right now. And Beasty, he's got no army in the production right now.
Yeah, he's lacking food. He still needs a minute or so until he gets the food he needs for the army, and being deprived of food just meant that his production buildings were idle for so long. He will be able to squeeze in the range defense upgrade. He does have access to the berries right now, and he can sacrifice a couple of villagers to destroy those rams with, but he's almost 2-to-1 when it comes to the army ratio. And you see fresh foodstuffs is also missing for him. So every villager he loses is a bigger loss than usual for the Abbasids.
Oh, that's interesting. Wham might actually be going here for the landmark from Beasty, and
Ooh.
I mean, it makes sense. Once you're able to destroy that landmark, that means that the entire economy from Beasty is going to suffer even more than if you were to kill, like, let's say 5-6 villagers. Just losing out on that like 15% bonus immediately. It's a really, really big hit to Beasty's economy, and right now he's going to be able to completely uncontested burn that down. And this is in Feudal Age right now. This landmark doesn't have that much HP. Later on, it becomes incredibly tanky, but in Feudal Age, it only has, quote unquote, only has 7,500 HP. This is really doable, and that's gonna put Beasty on the back foot here as soon as that goes down. Also means that he's not gonna be able to age up for a long, long time. Now, it is free to repair that landmark. It actually doesn't cost any wood. It's just poofs out of thin air, the resource that you need to repair that landmark, but it's going to be villager idle time, and it takes a long time to repair it fully.
Yeah, Beasty decides to swing to the north with the cavalry, finds a couple of villagers on the gold mine over here. Wham's going to have the spearmen to defend against this, but this is definitely a welcome distraction, as Beasty is just trying to buy more and more time to build up those archer masses. It's 18 archers versus 18 longbows now. Beasty's getting ready to push out of this one, but in order to buy himself the time he needs, as you said, he's sacrificing the House of Wisdom right now.
Yeah, Wham is going to start to fall behind a little bit when it comes to the archer mount. Now he still has the outpost there, which means that he is going to be in a good spot when it comes to the overall attack speed of his units, but it becomes a little bit dicey here. Beasty has a couple of horsemen, but Wham, he has a really large amount of spearmen, so that's probably not going to be too big of a concern for him right now. But it's just, the production from Wham on the longbowman is kind of what makes me a little bit fearful for it now. Okay, now he's starting to bruise again, and most importantly, now there's also some men-at-arms coming out from him. That's gonna be really, really nice. Once those men-at-arms come in as he's setting up his food economy, it's gonna be really, really hard for the Abbasid to deal with those.
Ooh, he's leaving the Rams alone for a brief moment. Opportunity for Beasty to do some damage on them. But Wham will call them back. Wham's army is still slow, but as you said, it's building up when it comes to the numbers. He's now numbering 40. Remember that one of the two landmarks have been destroyed, so Wham is kind of flirting with the idea of maybe pushing that starting DC. And as you said, men-at-arms now starting to increase in numbers. Longbows still coming in small groups. When is the point when Beasty needs to fight this one? How long does he have to wait before he needs to take a fight?
I think right now Beasty is in a little bit of a spot where he can't really, like, he knows that he can't really take a fight right now. He just knows that the mass is there. He's probably waiting until he knows that he's got a solid mass lead right now. I mean, that's why he sacrificed his main landmark. But now we see Wham actually having so many units out there on gold. Is he toying with an idea of a castle age here? That would be a little bit weird. I feel like Wham should use this innate bonuses that he has as the English in Feudal Age with the men-at-arms, with the longbows, instead of giving Beasty a potential window of cleaning up his army.
I agree. One of the key things to look at is that Beasty's gold mines are all denied. His most accessible gold was right next to that House of Wisdom. Backups are all on the front. So for Wham, he can really justify just stationing here and shutting down the gold, meaning that Beasty wouldn't get to Castle Age. Now for Wham, going into Castle is a surprising choice here, because what Beasty has been doing the last few minutes was building up an army. And if there is ever a time that you do not want to fight, it's when you're going up to Castle Age. This timing might just line up perfectly for Beasty. He's going to have the numbers advantage just when Wham is starting to age up.
Actually, thinking about it right now, I like the move from Wham, pulling his entire army back. This means that he's not going to be losing his army, and now the King's Palace is going to be coming in. And once the King's Palace is going to be coming in, we're going to be seeing the upgrades for the men-at-arms coming in. We're going to be seeing armor-clad, and with those upgrades, it's going to mean that Beasty won't be able to herd Wham's units at all. And we're only just now seeing the fresh foodstuffs coming in. And look at how many villager Beasty is using right now to repair his landmark. It still takes surprisingly long for that landmark to finish up. And looking at the resource income right now, Wham is just so ahead. And Finally, he got the House of Wisdom back up, and looks like he's also going to try to go up to Castle Age behind this, as he's using a lot of villagers and gold. But there's a huge, massive timing window right now where Wam can absolutely put on the hurt on Beasty as long as he doesn't lose this next fight here.
Wam up to Castle Age, he's going to get the veterancy upgrades. He's banked up a lot of gold, so he's going to have a lot to work with, even if his gold mine gets idled by all those archers. But now Beasty knows that he needs to go. Man-at-Arms upgrades are missing, as Core is pointing out, so this is going to be mostly on the longbows. And it looks like Beasty isn't really willing to fight. He's just going to run away from this force, maybe try to squeeze out a Castle Age himself, while also being active to the south with the horsemen, trying to get some harassments going. Might actually find a couple of villagers over here if Wam isn't cautious. Only 2 spearmen to defend. Scout nearby to spot any enemy villagers from a longer distance. Spearmen will go down, but not the villagers. Beasty will just disengage. And it looks like to the north, he's also going to have to flee with all his archers. He's still so far away from Castle Age, though. It's going to take a lot of time for him to get the upgrades in. And now you have the Castle Age upgrades for Wam, so this is no longer a fight that Beasty can take.
Yeah, Beasty's gonna be in a world of pain now. Okay, now he's gonna be able to click up 1 minute 40. He's not gonna be able to rush up that age up. So this is the timing that Wam has now, 1 minute and 40 seconds. Beasty is gonna try to delay Wam a little bit here with these raids. He is gonna get a couple of villagers here, actually. Oh no, the Seek Shelter movement. There was a hole in the wood line, and Seek Shelter tried to squeeze those villagers through, but the horsemen are body blocking. That's a good chunk of dead villagers here now for Wam, and yeah, that's not something that you want to lose right now. But at the same time, Wam is going to completely push Beasty off of gold here for now. He's going to be able to run in with his military, and with this army count, he could probably just torch down that TC.
Yeah, he's going to try and push this one. Beasty garrison the villagers in there. Beasty needs to wait for the horsemen to come back, but you can see on the minimap, they're just now swinging in. And you feel like Beasty might take this fight here, just trying to save that DC. He found the gold mine to the south, so he's going to have access to gold, and he needs to just wait 40 more seconds for Castle Age. Looks like he's going to take this fight close to the DC, though. Horsemen swinging from the north. Spearmen, little mispositioned here, but now they do catch up. Archers will take this fight. Numbers are heavily favoring Beasty in this one, as the archers will focus down the spears. Men-at-Arms still lacking some of the upgrades, so the archers will do fairly well against them. It looks like Beasty might be able to hold the first wave, but as the new Men-at-Arms arrive, now with the Castle Age upgrades, this is going to get increasingly difficult, Crackedy.
Yeah, they don't have armor clad yet, but looking at how Beasty is still in fuel age, that probably doesn't matter too much right now. There's still a good chunk of longbowmen that survived this fight, and now 25 Men-at-Arms out on the field. Beasty is going to be able to age up. He's got gold income. He could make a couple of knights here in order to push this back. But it's going to be tough for him. He's going to need a lot of mass here really, really soon. And I think right now, Wam could probably just move back and try and finally finish burning down that TC. Beasty now pushing out a Mangonel here. He does have some spearmen, but I feel like Wam, with the Men-at-Arms, with so many Men-at-Arms right now, he could probably just completely overrun Beasty.
Yeah, his escalation to the Men-at-Arms was just so rapid. In a blink of an eye, he went from 5 Men-at-Arms to 30. Even though this DC was repaired, Wam is going to take it down with the Men-at-Arms now. Beasty is going to have to forfeit this position. Again, he needs to buy time until he gets the crossbows, until he gets the mangonels going. He is going to have boot camp. He still has a lot of archers to work with, but he doesn't have a ton of gold, doesn't have a lot of foodie either. Army numbers are close, but the quality of the army is substantially better right now for Wam.
Yeah, looks like Wam trying to get another outpost up there. Is going to get scared away with his villager for now. And yeah, I think this isn't a fight that Wam can take or should take right now. It's in a choke point right in Beasty space with a Mangonel, and if you can't really push onto that Mangonel, it's going to be really, really tough to take that out. It could do a lot of damage onto those units from Wam right now, so he's going to have to be careful with how he's going to approach that fight. Maybe if he just loops a couple of units around there. But yeah, this is really tough. Look at how nestled in that Mangonel is right now in between those units, but Man-at-Arms going to be doing quite a lot of damage here right now. Gonna start to slowly but surely clear out that unit mass. Good micro here. Still takes a little bit of damage here from the Mangonel. Now pushing further, pushing onto the minimum range. Mangonel goes down.
Just
there aren't too many
here.
Yeah, there aren't too many crossbows here, and Wam is focusing them.
Yeah, this is just getting increasingly difficult for Beasty at this point. He's been doing such a good job positioning those units in those narrow choke points, but the flood is just too massive, and Beasty's gonna have to tap out, fall to the might of the English. The men-at-arms win the game here for Wam as he moves on to 1-0.
Yeah, really, really well played by Wam. He really knew how to play this one. Just the early harassment here, it delayed the second TC for so long, for so incredibly long. Then also the control on the wood lines, forcing Beasty to move on to the opposite wood line and just causing so much idle time early on. We can really see that second TC only came into play after like 10 minutes. Usually with the Abbasid, you want to have that go up by like minute 5 to 6. And yeah, just the delay here being so big for Beasty, and Wam just really capitalizing on that, playing it safe even, I would say, with going up to Castle Age and just finishing it off cleanly with that man-at-arms spam.
Indeed. It started out in that early feudal age. Wam was able to slow down Beasty's eco-escalation so much. Granted, Beasty's map was kind of punishing for the strategy he wanted to play around. The gold mines were all on the front, the forests were close to each other, so this wasn't an easy map by any means for Beasty to defend, but Wam exploited that weakness in the map generation very well, and just escalated this into Castle Age, won the game with men-at-arms. He moves on to 1-0 right now, as we head into game number 2, which can either be on Beasty's home map, or if Beasty chooses to do so, he can also select the home map of the opponent, Wam.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I wonder what civilization Beasty's going to pick. It has to be a comfort pick for him, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was China, but instead he's going to be playing Rus here on regions. All right, so it's going to be Rus versus HRE, and I got to say, like, Rus are a really solid civ at the moment, and I think when it comes to playing against HRE, they're probably one of the civs that can really make HRE struggle as well in the game. HRE has a lot of passive gold generation, but so does Rus. They can go for that high trade house, they got their hunting cabins, they get the bounty early on, and overall, Rus just a really solid pick here. In general, they're one of the strongest civilizations in the game. And on regions, I think there is quite a lot of huntables to be gathered bounty from, and yeah, gonna be interesting to see how BC is gonna be playing this one.
On the other side, Wam does have the HRE, a civilization that Beasty loves to play with. This time around, he's going to have to play against it, but given how frequently Beasty plays this civilization, you really feel like when you play that civilization so much, you also know how to exploit its weaknesses just as much as how to use its strengths.
Yeah, that's true. But I think HRE, especially in maps like Regions, I think time and time again, it's proved itself to be like a really strong contender, especially for like the mid kind of game. When it comes towards getting that gold from the middle of the map, you get that those really strong keys. You get these outposts that you can put relics inside, and even if you don't get the gold access in the middle, HRE still have a really solid unit composition when it comes to like their spearmen or men-at-arm and horsemen push. They really don't need that much gold in that kind of stage of the game once they get to like that spearman and horseman kind of composition. And yeah, it could become really difficult for Rus in the mid game to really take control over these middle gold spots.
Before we jump into game number 2, huge shout out goes to Anonymous Gifter for dropping 20 subs to the chat. Congratulations for all you lucky folks who got a gift sub from Anonymous. Once again, thank you for supporting EGC TV. As we have game number 2 up, Beasty opted to go for the home map of Wam over here, goes with the Rus against the HRE, as Wam is at match point right now in the first set of the day.
Exactly. It looks like we're just about to jump into our game number 2 here. Wam against Beasty. Wam sitting on the HRE against Beasty's Rus here. And there we go. That's actually... I've talked about this a little bit. We see 6 villagers building that early hunting cabin right now for Beasty. It means that he's going to get a really fast timing on that second scout. I've talked about it a little bit because I really dislike that kind of thing where players right now, they rush up that hunting camp with like 4 or 5 villagers. Beasty right now doing it with 6 villagers. I don't really hate it because it's inefficient. I hate it because in the next patch, the hunting cabin build time is going to be drastically reduced, and I just kind of dislike the prospect of that the efficiency just not being there yet. And I mean, it's going to be really nice for Beasty. It means that he's going to pretty much get 1 extra villager here, since he doesn't need the idle time on the TC early on.
Yeah, to the south, it is Wam with the color red this time around. Beasty opts to go with the yellow again for consistency. And of course, the first thing that we're always going to look at here on regions, it's going to be the amount of bounty that you can get. You see the left side of the screen, this is one of the key elements of this new map that we introduce here in the Elite Classic regions. It's a consistent spawn. You always have the small packs of deer spawning on the west flank of the map, and on the eastern flank it's always going to be the berries. So, from the perspective of the Roost player, this is a predictable spawn and you know where to go to get the bounty you need.
Oh, Beasty just missing those 3 sheep here in the corner. That could give a really nice opening here for Wam if he gets those sheep. Hatchery being super dependent on food early on, so any sheep that Wam can get, he's going to be really happy about. Beasty right now sitting on 3 scouts. That sheep also looks to be going the way of Wam there. And yeah, he's going to need sheep under his TC soon, because right now all his sheep are slain, and Beasty is getting a lot of sheep here from Wam's side of the map.
Yeah, Beasty has been active gathering sheep over here. He's also going to have Wheelbarrow coming in as we speak. Now, can we actually take a look at the sheep tally? Because this is always an interesting factor to look at in Roost versus whatever matchups. Roost players so often prioritizing the hunt that they often just cannot focus enough on the sheep and they just start running low. Looks like Beasty, he isn't going to have that issue though. He's going to have quite a bit of sheep to work with.
Yeah, and right now he's also sending villagers out to... Wait. Oh, he doesn't have enough gold. This is horrible for Beasty. He clicked that wheelbarrow without having enough bounty to go up, and yeah, now he actually has to mine some gold in order to click up.
Ouch.
That's horrible for him right now. It's gonna really delay his age-up timing. Oh, damn.
That's annoying. That's very annoying. At the very least, it's going to happen against an HRE opponent, so it's not like you will have a bunch of longbows pressuring your eco like you would have against the English, let's say. So missing out on this feudal age timing by, let's say, 20-30 seconds is not the end of the world, but as you mentioned, this is somewhat suboptimal for him.
Yeah, the main thing why it becomes a little bit more annoying when you're playing as the Ruse, you really want to get those Kremlins out as soon as possible to harass and annoy the HRE, especially when it comes to like the more popular HRE strategies at the moment, which is going for that second TC. You really want those Kremlins out as soon as possible, and you want them to be annoying on that stone mine from the HRE. And just not having the timing in the right spot could be really, really annoying here for Beasty, but I'm not sure how Wam is exactly playing this, because he's HRE, and Wam is going for an early wheelbarrow here.
Oh, Beasty yoinks the bounty off the back of that scout from Wam, so there is some retaliation.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Wam's strategy is going for right now with that really early wheelbarrow. Looks like Wam, he's trying to get that one scout who is low HP. Gonna be taking 2 hits here to kill it, but yeah, that scout is just gonna walk right back into the base, and I don't think Wam should realize that there's probably nothing to get here, and now it seems like he's macroing towards that second TC. Yeah, he's going to be getting that Prowled inside the Archon Chapel. It's going to be speed mining that stone as soon as possible. BC also macroing towards that second TC. But yeah, I think Wam is going to be really fine here when it comes to getting that second TC up, mainly because of how Beasty delayed his age up a little bit. I mean, he still rushed it up with a good chunk of villagers, but it means that the Gremlins are very likely not going to be in time in order to delay anything majorly right now. Now they're going to be spawned. Now they're going to be running onto the map, but I don't think they're going to be in time to delay or deny that second TC.
Yeah, Beasty was looking at the stone mine with that scout for a brief moment, so he knows exactly how Wam is doing when it comes to the stone. As you mentioned, that second TC will be coming up. Even if the militia arrive over here from the Kremlin, by the time they arrive, they will probably be close to expiring. Plus, of course, Wam... Actually, what is Wam up to? He's gathering more stone. He's beyond 350 now, so this actually gives an opportunity for the militias to step up, because that DC is just now starting to be built.
Yeah, it looks like Wam is pulling his villagers. He wants to get that second TC up on all of these deer, but the militia are already in position. Granted, they probably expire within the next 15-ish seconds, I want to say. And yeah, they actually still have 25 seconds left on them. And BSC is just going to be calling in the next line of militia here. Prelate is going to be pulled, so maybe at least he's going to be having that healing. But right now, the militia are just proving to be quite annoying here.
Yeah, they also block one of the better spots for that down center as the villagers will fight back. New batch of militias just now coming in here from Beasty. Villagers will be fighting. Beasty focusing the prelate has done a lot of damage to it. And you clearly see the target for him. He knows that the villagers will be healed back eventually. He just wants to try and snipe that prelate out there. Might actually have a window for it with the militias as the prelate flees to the starting base.
Yeah, Wam finally realizes that he can't afford to like micro down these militia. He just has to build that second TC. Is going to be a little bit late with pulling that villager and loses a villager like that. And now he's going to be quick when it comes to pulling these villagers and just pulling them away from these militia. But I think another villager might be going down here, and this is hurting him quite a bit here because it means that second TC is only going to pay... Oh, that's a nice catch. Healing it by just 1 HP is going to mean that that villager survives another hit here. That villager is going to live.
Oh, lovely micro over there by Wam. The tiny details that these players have time and energy to focus on. As you said, just a tiny bit of healing just to make sure that the villager survives 2 hits instead of 1. Obviously, Wheelbarrow coming in clutch as well, allowing the villager to flee. And Wam gets away, only losing 1 villager in the process.
Yeah, could have been quite worse, but Beasty has a godly TC spawn over here. Well, not spawn, but TC spot right here, as he's got the deer and the boar right under that TC. That's gonna be really nice for him. Now he's getting the plus 75 bounty from that boar, and his food economy is gonna be looking quite good. He doesn't have survival techniques yet. Should probably think about getting it sometime soon, especially since it can really easily afford right now. He is making some knights and some archers. Going to be interesting to see if he's going to be prioritizing feudal age or if he's going to be looking for an age up now. I think with the ruse, it probably makes sense to just prioritize your feudal age aggression right now, just because you're the civilization that has access to knights, your opponents doesn't. So whatever happens, as long as feudal age goes on, you're going to be more and more ahead in this kind of window here right now in the feudal age when it comes to the quality of your military units.
Yeah, Wam has vision on Beasty's base. Wam knows fully well that Beasty's coming for knights and archers, will spot the tower that's coming up as well. His response is going to be spearman, horseman, but he's yet to get the upgrades. The first horseman is just now popping out, and this is a lovely tower for Beasty to deny half of that hunt.
Yeah, archer's already on the field as well. I think Wam probably should have really quickly built a counter outpost there. Especially since he already has enough gold in order to get an emplacement up on that outpost immediately. But Beasty already pulled the gremlins as well, so I guess even if Wam committed to that, he probably would have been in a world of hurt if he did that. So nice that he didn't do that, but it's so much idle time that the gremlins force again. Just these 4 gremlins right now causing a lot of idle time. 11 villagers idle right now for Wam. Even more villagers are just running around right now on the map. Man, it really hurts when you see the value that these gremlins just get you. It's insane.
Yeah, it's insane. Especially if you couple it with a tower that's doing a lot of harassment on the hunt as well. In fact, gremlins will even try to go under the TC. Looks like Wam once again gets away with a villager that only has 1 HP. But behind this, as you said, not only is Beasty applying pressure, he's got a godly second TC spot. He's got the board to work with, so does Wam, by the way. But Beasty's food eco is just better right now than what Wam has. Knight actually might yoink a villager here if Wam is not cautious.
Oh, doesn't get one. That was unlucky, the way the villagers just positioned themselves. Means that the charge got blocked by a healthy villager, and looks like all the villagers stay alive, and... Oh. Waypoint.
Hello? Now that's what we call a caster curse.
Oh, another outpost coming out here from Beasty.
That's an even better spot.
Does Wam see that? Does Wam see that?
Yeah, good question. If he doesn't see it, it's gonna end up being a nasty surprise. Although, even if he sees it, I'm not exactly sure if he can stop this right now. It's already half complete, knights and archers standing close by. Indeed, Wam has vision on it, but all he has is a handful of spearmen approaching. By the time he arrives with most of his forces, this tower goes up.
Oh, doesn't get a villager again, but I feel like that actually might have been in range of the TC. I think he probably could have at least sniped a single villager there. Looks like he didn't try to snipe one of these villagers, and now once again emplacement goes up on that. And that just is such an annoying thing to deal with right now. These outposts, they have so much HP. They start, like the wooden fortresses, they basically reinforce from the get-go. So having 2,000 HP right now, which I think it's going to get nerfed actually next patch down to 1,750. Having that 2k HP right now, it's just really, really tough to take them down. And Yeah, that means that Wam is going to have to focus more onto his farms. The one thing that he's got going for himself right now is that at least Beasty isn't trying to take up behind this, because if Beasty right now just goes up to Castle Age, Wam wouldn't be able to follow right away.
Yeah, Beasty also maximizes the efficiency of those knights out there. Managed to yoink 3 villagers inside the starting base. Now he's going to send a bunch of villagers to gold. You see, he's got the food pretty much for Castle Age. And as he said, if Wam gets beaten to Castle Age over here, things will start getting even more so ugly. Right now, Beasty has a 5-villager lead. Wam still has at least some room for recovery, especially if he takes a couple of good fights over here. Will yoink the scout, might even get the kill on the knight. But he's confined into his base. Beasty's got a good forward position. And right now, it looks like the Castle Age times of the two players will be pretty close to each other.
Yeah, BC just committed a little bit more into these knights. He still kept making more and more knights right now, which kind of pushes his Castle Age timing further and further away. Yeah, it means that the timings are going to be very similar right now. I think Wham's still probably going to go for the Regnitz here. Man, these like little run-bys are going to be so annoying. I think Wham, when these run-bys happen, what a lot of players tend to do is they just don't micro their town center fire, and they just fire onto the knights. I think what's really important is focusing down those scouts, because just denying all that vision means that it's going to be really, really hard for the aggressive player to find the good raiding spots.
Yeah, Regnitz Cathedral versus the Abbey coming in here. Once again, Wham is still confined into his base. He only has 2 horsemen to deal with. Oh, look at that, knights swooping in. Will slow and even cancel the Regnitz here. Beasty diving in, and the Regnitz had to be restarted from the beginning. Now the knights are diving in. Villagers are getting caught in the crossfire. Beasty's out here for blood. Catches 4 villagers here. Still not retreating. Dancing in front, trying to find a new angle to that one Regnitz Cathedral. A lot of villagers heavily damaged here. And it looks like the militia will even charge in under the TC.
Yeah, I mean, the militia is just an A-move unit, right? You don't really need to worry too much about it. You don't micro it, you just A-move it in. And Wham knows, with the H-up coming in from Beasty, with all of these units being out there, there's no way that he can push that back and actually get up safely. And he just calls the GG right there. It's going to be a game 3.
Yeah, lovely micro by Beasty there, just noticing the Regnitz and saying, okay, I can dive into this one. But it really started with those militias carving out that advantage at the beginning, towers following it up, and Wham was never really allowed to leave his base, always playing from the back foot. Beasty, of course, capitalizing on all that map control with the boar, with the extra hunts, and eventually closing out the game, making this a 1 apiece. So we are going into game number 3, a decider game, which will be on Beasty's home map, because he chose to play his opponent's home map here in game number 2.
Yeah, exactly, which can be a little bit... I mean, it's already rough, like losing on your home map, right? That obviously has to hurt. And now the last Civ that Beasty is probably going to be playing, I'm seeing China here. I would be very surprised if it's going to be Mongols instead. And we do have China versus French, and... poor Wham. Poor Wham. I mean, China is really, really good against French. If they're able to turtle up hard enough early on and they don't lose a lot of villagers, it's going to be really, really tough for French to really stick it out, those games. And yeah, this is going to be tough. I mean, it's going to be on Dry Arabia at least, so that's a little bit French favored in that matchup. If it was like a close map, like Lipany or any other maps that can have like these spawns, which are really easy to defend, it could have been even worse for French. I'd say on Dry Arabia against China, French probably still has a good chance. But like looking at the other Civ option that Wham had, it would have been Delhi, which would have been even more favored for China.
Yeah, indeed. As you mentioned before this set, Wham just hates playing against the Chinese here. On the other side, this is not a civilization that Beasty commonly plays with, at least not in tournaments. But this is one of those picks where he's just picking one of the weaker civs for the opponent, kind of. Just trying to pick something that the opponent feels uncomfortable against. We'll have to see how Wham plays this out. It is 1-1 right now. Of course, neither of these players will get knocked out from the top 8 from a playoff position with a loss here, but you want to maximize your chances of staying in. For both of these players, whichever loses, of course, they will still have that 1 game on the board, so that's also going to help in the tiebreaker scenarios. But the ultimate goal is to win this one. get yourself into that top 2 so you go into the semifinals directly. As we go into game number 3 over here, decider between Beasty and Wam. We do have on the left side Beasty with the Chinese in yellow, and to the east it is going to be Wam with the French in blue.
Oh, okay, right now I'm looking at the spawn, and I'm like, okay, maybe Wam has a chance. Looking at the way the resources are spread out right now here for Beasty, he's got the deer, which are quite forward. He's got the other deer, which are going to be on the opposite side. He doesn't have a really great spot to Barbican either way. If he Barbicans over here, that means that his gold is going to be exposed. If he Barbicans on the gold, that means that he's going to be running out of food, and also means that his wood lines are going to be exposed. He doesn't have a great spot here when it comes to the Imperial Academy. This is actually just about the worst spawn that you can probably get with Chinese here. Yeah, this is actually really rough for Beasty looking at it right now. All the wood is forward. He doesn't have any wood in the back. Yeah, it's going to become crucial how he places his landmarks here. If one of these landmarks is going to be in an odd position at any one point in the game, it might just be that Wam actually just floods Beasty here. This is actually real. Like, this is actually the one spawn with the one matchup where French actually can capitalize on this the most. I think Wam's going to be in a good position here, just judging from the way the map spawns so far.
Yeah, I'm curious if Beasty is going to play aggressive over here with that map spawn. We know how he loves the Chukanu. We have seen some crazy Chukanu games last week as well, so I'm curious to see if he just goes for that big ball of Chukanu. I think last week we had a game with like 100 Chukanu at the same time, and Beasty was watching that. Makes me wonder if he wants to replicate that to a certain extent.
Yeah, Jugunu, they can be really, really strong. It's so easy to mess them up because they just cost barely any food at all. They do still cost gold, and I mean, the way the gold is looking right now, Wam could definitely contest that. I mean, Beasty, he still has gold in the corner there. But with Knights, I think Beasty will have to spread himself awfully thin if he wants to just protect all of his resources here.
Yeah, gold and stone both to the south. There is actually a backup gold mine to the very far left, but of course, expanding out towards those neutral resources is always a challenge against the French, who will be looking for opportunities to snipe your villagers with their knights, as we have the School of Cavalry coming in here from Wam. No surprise about that one. For Beasty, it's going to be interesting to see where he drops his Barbican. Could you see him trying to do that somewhere around between the two forests, let's say, just to get some more map control in the area?
The issue with doing that is that it's still really easy to just walk around, and then he's going to have exposed food and exposed gold. Because, I mean, sure, the mill is relatively close to his sheep over, like to his TC over there, but a knight can still charge in and get a villager kill before that villager even reaches the TC. He is going to go for the Barbican on the deer, which I think out of all the possibilities is probably the best one. It means that he's going to have, say, food access with the deer, and he still has berries right next to that. He can also enclose that space a little bit with walls. He could potentially have stone access later on there with the large stone mine in that direction as well, and also kind of blocks an access point to that back gold that he has.
Yeah, this is a very delicate timing here. He only has one villager building the Barbican. This should pretty much finish before the first knight arrives, but you gotta be cautious with such timing, because if anything goes wrong, if you're just delayed by 5 to 10 seconds, Wam might have a knight nearby to kill your villager before it goes up. But you see the bar on the left side filling up faster. In fact, Beast is going to focus a second villager on it. This is one of the nice details, something that doesn't really get talked about when it comes to pro games, how aware the pro players are when it comes to all these critical timings. For Beasty, he knows fully well that it still takes X amount of seconds for that knight to be created and to arrive, so he knows he's going to have the window to finish this without having to worry about that knight showing up.
Yeah, he would have been fine with just a single villager and just choose to take the second one just in case anything goes wrong here. Choosing the safe approach, which is fine. He is going to get the Imperial Academy up on probably the best spot that he could have here. It's going to be in range of his mill. Could have probably put it a little bit closer to the wood line just in order to buff more and more of that wood line as he chops through it. but still the wood line is going to be in range of it, and it's really so important to have your Imperial Academy in range of wood. You just get so much more tax out of wood lines than you get out of gold, stone, or anything else, just because in these early parts of the game, you're not going to be mining a lot of stone, a lot of gold. You're going to be mining a lot, you're going to be chopping a lot of wood, and you're going to get the most out of that.
Yeah, looks like no professional scouts here for Wam. He's just going to send out the first knight just now. He's actually heading towards the stone piles to the south, yet to find the expansion with the Barbican to the north. Beasty already has the Song Dynasty, of course, so he's going to have a comparable villager production rate to the French. Question is, are we going to see the Chukonu? Or I guess the better question is, when are we going to see the Chukonu starting to arrive for Beasty?
It shouldn't be immediately, just because at the beginning you got the knights, obviously, and if you make Shuganu against knights with like a mass of like 2 to 3 Shuganu, the knights are just easily going to kill them. Gonna be really important to first mix in a couple of spears, and we do see the barracks opening up, but Wam, he's already got his archery range producing right now, so the timing's gonna be quite delicate here, and look at that, idle time is being caused. The Imperial official is gonna be idled a little bit here. Alright, it's going to be back to supervising, but every now and then, just whenever that charge is available, just charging in, causing a little bit of idle time, it's going to be really important against China, just because the economy baseline is so efficient. Causing idle time wherever you can is going to be key here.
Yeah, with the walls up in the middle for Beasty, it's going to be more difficult for Wam to link up his forces. He kind of needs to choose that angle from the south to attack from, but it looks like Wam isn't going to go full aggro over here. He's going to play around the second TC. He's just now finished gathering the stone for it. He only has 2 knights on the field right now, only 2 archers, and this is going to be an aggressive forward TC here on that hunt, knowing that Beast is going to play a bit more passive here at the initial parts of Feudal Age.
Yeah, it looks like he's even going to go for a third TC. I think that's actually a little bit too greedy here when it comes to the economy. BC doesn't even have his first additional TC prepped yet, and that could leave him a little bit open to a window. Like, at the same time, though, Wam, with these knights, he's just buying himself so much time. It's just this early aggression, which is so great with French. You keep the enemy Chinese player completely confined in their base. BC doesn't have any information right now about what Wam is doing. A scout is also still in his base, because he needs a scout in his base in order to track those knights.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
And that is just why, yeah, French is just so constrictive to play against with these early knight aggression. Now we see Beasty going out to stone, and I mean, by the time Beasty gets his first TC up, the third TC from Wam is probably going to be finished.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, the key thing here is that Beasty has to keep that scout back at home. He needs to know where the knights are coming from. But this also means that he has no vision on Wam, no idea what Wam is doing right now. He hasn't yet even... I think he knows about the second TC, perhaps. Maybe he saw the mining camp on the stone mine before. He actually sneaks out with the scout just now to get her info, but by the time he sees the stone having been mined from the stone mine, the third TC will also be up for Wam. So, as you mentioned, Wam is going to have that advantage when it comes to the eco escalation initially.
Yeah, now he's got his third TC up on the second spot of the deer right now, and the escalation here when it comes to the economy, I mean, sure, right now, Beasty, he still has a slight villager advantage. That's just because Song Dynasty is just slightly more efficient than the passive French bonus right now. But it's going to shift very quickly. And, I mean, at the same time, Beasty, his entire military is just shoved back into his base. The important point right now is Wam also needs to continue massing his own military, because if Beasty just keeps on massing his, there's going to be a point at which he could just flood the French player.
Yeah, Wam has a lot of vision inside the base of Beasty, though, so he knows exactly how many spearmen he's facing. He's looking for an opportunity to get some picks here. Chukanu trying to cut off his path. One villager not going to get picked over here, in fact. And now, Wam should realize that Beasty continues to escalate his army, and that he needs to start adding army too, because he's outnumbered 22-5 now.
BC is also going to go for 3 TC here, but that's just insanely greedy and insanely delayed as well. Because Wam, he's been having his 3 TC for like 1.5 minutes right now, and BC hasn't even started building his second TC yet, and he's also struggling when it comes to the wood for it right now.
Yeah, but then again, if you look at Beasty, he is going to build that TC fast with the Chinese villagers. As you mentioned, the Song Dynasty bonus is also going to be more significant than the passive bonus of the French. And it's only a 3 villagers lead right now for Wam, so I feel like Beasty might still have a window to catch up here on the eco department, while also currently possessing a substantially larger army than what Wam has.
Yeah, I feel like Beasty, yeah, he's gonna be inhaling those deer. He's gonna be like, and those deer are gonna be gone. He's sending so many villagers out to that, and he really needs the food right now. He needs to go up as soon as possible here. He already has a substantial army mass right now out on the field. This could be tough, though. I mean, one of the knights is already low HP. Oh, he's not focusing the spearman. Okay, never mind. The Wam won't be able to get any value here.
Yeah, Wam is going to see the second DC, Chukonu, coming in here, getting a villager pick out there. Obviously, for Beasty to make sure it doesn't fall behind that much in the eco, it would be lovely to find some villager picks with these Chukonu. But there's the second DC, third one just now starting to become a reality as he gets the wood for it. And it looks like Wam is going to have about a 10, 12-ish villager lead by the time Beasty gets that third DC up.
Yeah, wondering where the third TC is going to be. Is it going to be close to the deer or maybe even next to a boar here? I think it's going to be on the left side. Wait, no, he's actually going to be next to the boar. Okay, that's going to be cheeky, putting a TC right there.
Has to be
he's
cautious
going to
of the
kill
villagers.
I mean, he probably knows that Wam's army isn't going to be anywhere nearby. But that's going to be fine here for him. The army mass is just quite strong right now here for Beasty. 15 spearmen right now. And almost 15 Jugunu here. A couple more in the queue. It's going to be tough for Wam to really pressure anything here early on.
Yeah, Wam has got just enough army to hold off Beasty, but you feel like he's going towards that castle edge timing. He's banking up food, banking up gold. Beasty's got a lot of gold to work with, but he's lacking food. It's going to take some time until that boar really comes into play. You see he's just gotten the first food upgrade. He's going to get survival techniques. But at this pace, Wam is going to beat him to castle edge by about 30 seconds or so.
It's going to be quite a bit more, I feel like. I mean, the food is going to be coming in really quick now for him, as he's only just now put a lot of villagers back onto food. The thing, though, is I'm confused that Wam is actually going up here. He's going to need to do like a really, really crass timing push here with the Royal Institute, with that Royal Bloodlines. Because, in theory, you ideally want to end the game in feudal age with the French, because obviously you get the knights, your opponent doesn't get the knights. And if the game just goes on for a long time in feudal age, the French are always going to be in a better position, because if both players are pop cap with 200 pop, the player that has the knights in it is very likely going to win any fight that's going to be happening. So going for the Royal Institute now, going for the age up, kind of gives Beasty a timing window to get back into this. And Beasty is going to be walling up here, and he's going to be trying to get his eco going as well. And I think once those wards are up, Beasty can play this in a really turtlish kind of manner with Nest of Bees as soon as he gets to the next age. And then it can become really tough for Wam to push in.
Yeah, I agree. Those walls are coming in clutch here for Beasty, making sure that those knights have a tough time finding angles. And that's going to be a critical element of this game going forward. You really don't want to get your attention stretched out when you have a slow-moving army of spearmen and Chukonu. Castle Age is now in for Wam. He is going to start working his way towards the Archer veterancy, possibly, of course, Royal Bloodlines eventually. But the big question is, how does he finish the game here? Are we thinking about a forward castle, or what's the plan here for Wam, especially knowing that Beasty is also going up the Castle Age with the Clock Tower?
It is going to be that Royal Bloodlines. So he is researching that first of all things. He's even researching that before he's getting the Knight upgrade, right? I think these are still normal Royal Knights. I don't think he upgraded them. Yeah, they're still normal Royal Knights, so he's prioritizing that upgrade as soon as possible. So his plan is 100% go get like a really large mass of Royal Knights going, upgrade them with Royal Bloodlines, and just try to flood Beasty. Just try to completely nuke his army and then just hit him with that 310 HP Knight Power Spike. Beasty is getting textiles right now, so he knows what's going to be coming for him, though.
Yeah, he's going to have all the walls up all the way to the south, actually, making sure that Wam is going to spend a little bit more time breaking through these, and he really needs that time. He's just now getting the Veteran Spearman upgrade, the Veteran Chukonu. He needs that time to ensure that he gets the Castle Age upgrades he needs. Royal Bloodlines just now finishing for Wam. Veterancy for the Knights just done. He's getting the Archer upgrade as well. but it looks like Beasty is going to have enough time to wall up, and it's gonna be much more challenging for Wam to break through here. He doesn't feel like he has that overwhelming force if he also needs to break through walls, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be tough for him to break through these walls, first of all. Oh, Scout is gonna live. All right, that's always important, just having that bonus line of sight. You really, really need that. He's also getting his +2 Pierce Armor upgrade, which is going to be really necessary. He can't fight without that against the veteran Juganus. If he does, his units are just going to be incinerated, pretty much. He's going to be getting that. Bones projectiles also coming in for Beasty behind that. There's still a gap here. He's going to be able to catch off 2-3 villagers. That's going to be nice for him. But can't stick around for too much longer here. Shouldn't fight this. There's a lot of army here right now for Beasty. He's going to have to retreat.
He's still dancing
Actually,
around, though.
does he? Yeah, it seems like he does want to take that fight. Archers are going to be...
He's yoinking the relic.
He's protecting the monk. Okay, okay, I see what's going on.
He's keeping the door open for the monk. He's actually getting some
And he's
valuable
winning.
picks over here.
Yeah, just the spearmen being out of position, and every time they are, the archers do so much damage here. I think Beasty maybe overestimated a little bit the damage output from that TC. There's only 5 villages inside of it, so the damage isn't really all that great that's coming out of it. And every time the spearmen are getting a little bit too close, they're gonna get picked off by the archers here.
Yeah, Palace Guards are just now catching up. Crossbows in queue for Beast, but it looks like he's going to have to forfeit this DC here. He's still waiting for the Nest of Beasts to arrive. He's waiting for some blacksmith upgrades to finish. And there's a second expansion DC that could be targeted by Wam now. Even more critically, look at what Wam has. He's got 890 stone in the bank. If he wants to drop an aggressive castle, now is the time before the walls close.
It's gonna be in the back of his base. He's gonna need it for his production. Keep, you can't contest that. It's a Chinese keep. And the Nest of Beasts. Yeah, Wam has to run away from this. Just run away, pick off the spearmen with your archers if BC continues to follow. But other than that, like, you just got a lot of value. And this is the timing right now. Beasty has to do a farm transition. He's not going to be able to mass out too many units right now. At the same time, Wam is going to be able to get his keep up. That means that his units are going to be way, way, way cheaper as soon as that finishes. And then he's going to be able to just pump out a ton of knights. And if he gets the knight numbers up to like 30 knights, he's going to be able to just completely run over Beasty.
Yeah, it's going to take some time until he does that. As you mentioned, his castle is coming up inside his base. He's going to get that discount on the knights now. Beast is going to flank around with the Palace Guards to the north, trying to cut into the eco here. Looks like those Palace Guards will go unnoticed, unless Wam just retreats in the same direction that the Palace Guards are heading. Beast is going to fortify his base, though. He's going to have a second castle ready to go. And, as you mentioned, trenches have been dug. It's getting increasingly difficult for Wam to break into Beast's base, and the longer this game goes, the better it is for the Chinese player.
Yeah, this is why I really hope that Wam would battle this out in the feudal age. Him kind of going to castle age means that now there is this timing for the Chinese player to just out-eco the French, or rather outmass the French with just the better economy and with the unit production that he has right now. The farm transition is also coming in for Beasty behind this, so it's gonna get better and better for him as the game goes on. And these unit arms are going to be quite annoying right now for him. I think maybe Wam could at the very least start getting the Sacred Side timer going. Oh, villagers being out there right now. Does Wam notice?
Yeah, he does
He
notice.
does.
That's a
That's
massacre.
huge for him.
That's massive.
Yeah, that
It's
is
also
actually
giving a lot of
massive.
info for Wam, because now he realizes that, okay, Beasty needs to start moving out for large gold mines. Kind of gives him a clue on the gold situation that Beasty has. All these villagers will be caught around the knights. Actually, wait a second. Some of them will make it back home alive. Not all, though. Just 2 of them making out of the 8. At least Beasty will have a chance to retaliate on the north with some Palace Guards, but that was some good value for the knights out there for Wam.
Yeah, but I think the Palace Guards are actually getting more value here just in terms of how many villagers they're idling right now. And this is really annoying to deal with. I don't see any knights right now out on the map in order to deal with that.
That's terrible. Villager kill death ratio was 16-4 just a moment ago. Now it's 16-10, and a bunch of villagers have to flee here from the base of Wam. This is really good value for Beasty with those Palace Guards. Will now secure the gold mine as the knights are gone.
Yeah. Just gonna go for it again as soon as the chance presents itself. And yeah, now that gold is gonna be secured, and BC slowly but surely is gonna get his farm transition done. Oh, another Palace Guard. Oh no,
This
is Wam
is
sleeping
so
on this?
infuriating if you're Wam. Beasty's using such a tiny group of Palace Guards, but the efficiency is massive. Just one Palace Guard slaying all the Vills here. There are a bunch of Palace Guards to the north. Looks like we have a bit of a scuffle here in the middle. Chukunu getting caught off guard by a couple of Knights.
Yeah, 2 Knights just killing so many Jugunu here. They just do no damage to these Royal Bloodlines Knights here right now. There's so many units that are just getting snuck in, and it looks like Wam just doesn't... Like, he's none the wiser to all of these units just getting run in, and like they're just running past his units, and every now and then he just loses focus, loses track of them. Now that keep is going to get a little bit delayed, but at least the units are there for Wam to immediately deal with that. He can just, kill these units here right now and be done with that. Does know about the keep now, and he's gonna play this in Imperial. I mean, looking at the resource right now, he does once again have a window with which he can efficiently get things done in Imperial if he gets like the Elite Knight upgrade as soon as possible. But he really needs to just commit at one point. At one point, he's gonna have to commit. He's gonna have to send his units in, and if he doesn't do that soon, then just the longer he waits, the worse it gets for him.
Exactly. As you mentioned, again, Beasty manages to sneak in a bunch of Palace Guards to his eco. Now the walls are complete, trenches have been dug, but this is the power spike that he's been waiting for. Beasty is also close to 200 population. In fact, he is 200 pop now, so he's going to work his way towards Imperial. If there is ever a window, it's now for Wam. He needs to go before Beasty reaches Imperial himself.
Yeah, and that is going to be really, really soon. Oh my god. Beasty just pulling all of his units towards that sacred site. There could be Nest of Beasts a little bit out of position there, but I don't see the Knights anywhere nearby here for Wam.
No. He went on to try and push in. He split off some of the Knights, but looks like Beasty's breaking out to the north. Not something that Wam was waiting for. And now, looks like Beasty's... He's kind of posturing around that sacred site right now. Beautiful volley from the Nest of Beasts, just wiping out the archers. And now Beasty's going to head towards Imperial himself. He still has a strong position here close to the eco of Wam. And there's a lot of gold to the north that Beasty's denying right now. That's probably the reason why he's posturing his army there.
Yeah, he wants to get that keep up, but the second his army retreats, the army from Beasty is going to be coming in there. And yeah, this is going to be... Oh no. Oh no, that's going to be the Great Wall Gatehouse right there.
Oh, I love it. I love this position for Beasty. It secures the sacred site. It even denies trade to speak of, as we have a castle coming in here for Wam. A couple of Palace Guards trying to slow it down, but the Knights should clean this up. On the other hand, though, this means that Wam has no vision or forces to the north. That Great Wall Gatehouse is going up. Beasty's even going for the Imperial Palace, so he's going to be in the 3rd Dynasty. Fire Lancers will unlock, but even more importantly, he's going to deny so much gold here for Wam.
Yeah, it also means that all of his units are going to be 15% faster. Imagine all of the units right now from Chinese having a YAM or a new network movement speed upgrade to them. But it isn't just the military units, it's also the villagers, which means an increased efficiency on all of his farmers right now that are gathering food. And yeah, it feels like we're getting to that point where Wam is just missing the timing that he needed in order to kill off Beasty.
And, oh, there is the Imperial Spice Pop. This is also going to help Beasty locate the villagers of his opponent, so he knows exactly where to strike. Looks like Knights are now breaking into the base of Beasty. He's got quite a few Spearmen to work with. No elite status on them just yet, though. But there's the counterattack, and oh! Springald's picking off the Nest of Bees, but the Spearmen will flood the eco. On the other side, Wam looks like he's breaking into the farming eco. Castle now coming in for Beasty. It is going to finish. It's going to provide shelter for quite a few villagers here. But Knights, they're doing a lot of damage right now, shutting down the eco. On the other side, Wam is cleaning up the forces of Beasty. And in a blink of an eye, Beasty's losing a lot of army and has his eco idled.
Yeah, the economy idling right now is crucial for Wam, because right now Beasty isn't getting any food right now, and he doesn't have a lot of food to speak of right now anyway, so he's only got a couple Fire Lancers in queue. There are no Spearmen in production right now, and the Knights are doing quite well here against these Spears. There's still no Elite Spears, right? No, actually that's Elite Fire Lancers in queue. I think the Spearmen are already Elite, maybe, and now the Keep is going to be taken down with that Royal Bombard. Yeah, this could be really, really tough for Beasty here now, actually. I think maybe Wam is going to be able, with minimal investment into Knights, be able to finally find another kind of timing, a really late timing, I want to say, though. But he is going to be in a I would like to say not the worst position right now. Oh, I hope that's not in range.
Yeah. Oh, that would be ugly. That would be very,
I
very
pray.
ugly. Beasty recovers his farming eco, so now he's going to get back to that 2,000 food per minute-ish food eco. And he needs that, because as you said, right now he's deprived of food, and his army is basically half the size of what Wam has. He is going to rebuild the keep on the right flank. Knights are once again breaking game.
Ken's already there.
Yeah, we're only talking about 10 Knights right now, Crackedyhere, so not a huge force for Wam to run into that eco with.
Yeah, at the very least, they're discounted knights, so they don't cost as much. It's not as big of an investment. Looks like Beasty is really trying to just deny resources here just by mining out these golds as fast as he possibly can. I mean, he already has like 3k. He already has like 3k gold in the bank. Feels like right now he should be focusing on his food economy more than anything else. Yeah, and that could be the timing that he needs, that Wam needs in order to get like some crucial damage in against Beasty.
Wam is swinging to the south here. Beasty is up to 14 Fire Lancers, though. We're getting to the stage where it gets scary, and like these Fire Lancers, you always talk about that charge damage as they do take a fight here against the Arbaletier. They will yoink the siege and then probably disengage, but really, their use will come down to just destroying so much infrastructure at the back of Wam's base, right?
Yeah. And looking at the way these neutral markets spawned, it's going to be really, really tough here for Wam to get into trading. If anything, I think he has to go for the bottom corner if he wants to think about trade. And there's the keep that's still in his way. Maybe he's going to be able to get rid of that. He does still have a bombard out right now that he can use in order to get rid of that keep. But Beasty has so many villagers out there, he's going to be able to repair that keep for quite a while.
And the Fire Lancers, of course, very adept at sniping siege weapons. It's going to be very easy for Beasty to just keep sniping those bombards that arrive and just kind of extend the lifespan of that one keep to the south.
Yeah, and Beasty's also really, really proficient right now at just forcing the fight to be on multiple sides at the same time. And French, they don't really want to fight on multiple fronts at the same time. They want to have like this one huge army and just push it in. But Beasty's gonna make this really, really hard for Wam. Oh, I said he doesn't have anything to repair that bombard with. That bombard is gonna go down.
Yeah, Fire Lancers charging in from the backside as well. Spearmen joining the fight. There is a nest of bees at the back line as well. Clock Tower Bombard will get rid of the Bombard here for Wam. Spearmen doing a good job pushing back the Knights. Fire Lancers mostly gone, but here comes the next wave. Nest of Bees still out there. Knights trying to snipe it, but they will just be greeted by all the Spearmen. And behind this one, Beasty is also starting to get some raids going with the Fire Lancers as well. Terrific damage done by the charge attack. And with this army possibly getting cleaned up, it's looking increasingly worrisome for Wam.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the bank right now when it comes to the economy, you would say that Wam is in a really, really stellar position right now. Just looking at how much food he has in the bank, how much gold, how much wood he has going for himself. But the thing is, he can't really make use of that because Beasty's just prodding at him from every single angle. And it really goes to show that against the Chinese, what you need, what you desperately need, is going to be stonewalls at a certain point in time. You need to be fully stonewalled up. Else, it's going to be so easy for the Chinese to just rush in with their palace guards, with their fire lancers, and they get economy damage so quickly because they always know where your villagers are. They do have that Imperial Palace, which has the ability to reveal all villagers, all economy units. I think it's a little bit too strong of a landmark, to be honest. Like, not only does it have an insane amount of line of sight that goes through wood lines, by the way, but it also has an ability which doesn't cost anything. It doesn't even cost anything to activate, and it reveals every single villager on the map. And that just makes China such an absolute beast in the late game when it comes to raids, because they know your weak spots. They know where your villagers are, and they're gonna go for them. Once again, villagers go down. And looking at it, Beasty has killed 65 villagers so far in this game. It's just gonna be insane to come back from that, from all of these raids that are happening.
Exactly, it's getting increasingly worrisome, and once the Fire Lancer mass becomes even larger, we can talk about sniping buildings, critical infrastructure like production buildings, houses, farms, dare I say. Right now, it's more about that eco-raiding. But look at the other side, Wam is not done yet. He's got a huge force of horsemen, he's building up a push with rams, he's going to catch these bombards off guard over here, gets rid of most of the siege, and he's going to have a window to possibly push the south here, Crackedyhere.
Yeah, he's gonna need a lot of arbalistry here in order to deal with the spearmen and with the fire lancers, and he is still making a lot of arbalistry. So I'm really, really happy with the composition for Ram right now. Beasty being a little bit annoying there with the walls blocking the stone walls, but yeah, Wam is still not completely out of this yet. If he gets some successful raids of his own in, I feel like he just has to stop thinking about that that gold here at some point, because with the amount of villagers that are on there, that gold is pretty much already completely gone. He's kind of fighting for nothing at this point. I think there's only like maybe 800 gold remaining in that gold mine. And yeah, it's kind of distracting him a bit too much at this point, I think.
Yeah, in fact, Wam is just now done mining that gold. Beasty is going to likely lose this keep unless the bombard gets sniped. There are some rams to push that angle with too. On the north, Wam is coming in with a bunch of cavalry. Beasty jumps out of the castle trying to get rid of the rams. First one goes down. Bombard's still alive. There's a second ram though. No more standing army for Beasty here. He's outnumbered 2-1 overall. And it looks like he's starting to lose villagers as well. Down to the south, here up to the north as well to the horsemen. And this castle is also going down. Population for Beasty 176, same for Wam. Both sides are now starting to inflict heavy eco damage on the opponent.
Yeah, I feel like Beasty, in theory, he's losing all the fights right now with his army composition. He really needs to switch things up. Maybe look at some hand cannons here, as he does have over 4,000 gold. Hand cannons right now would be really nice for him. And Wam, he's looking ahead. He's looking for trade. I think that's also the reason probably why he invested so much into trying to get that keep at the bottom down. He wants to get the most efficient trade route possible. Ooh, nice villager kills over here.
Beasty has yoinked a lot of gold from the map. He has 4,000 gold banked up, a lot of food as well. Very low on wood he is though. That's something to keep monitoring for the next few minutes. He's also losing a lot of villagers now, and don't forget, he doesn't have trade. He's got a good resource bank, but he's losing a lot of villagers all across the map.
Yeah, his resources, especially his food economy right now. I mean, he's at almost 4,000 food per minute, and he's still like getting these raids in. It's so insane how good China is at raiding. And I think China also probably has like the best response to rams in the game with their fire lances. Like there's just no unit in the game which is able to take rams out as quickly as these fire lances are. And look at the fire lances are just going to be able to take down these forward siege workshops. That's 300 wood each, so that's not cheap in order to replace all of these siege workshops here. And even though that's like right below a keep, I mean the DPS from non-Chinese keeps against units that have like armor, pierce armor, it's not the best. It's a little bit disappointing when you compare the two. And yeah, all the siege workshops are down now.
Yeah, lovely counterattack. Also, will get rid of the keep most likely. He's getting rid of a lot of production. He managed to find a way to the backline again. Now he's operating with a lot of palace guards. We talked about this. He had low wood. He's just going to use that 4,000 food per minute income to just flood the palace guards right now. He's going to get rid of the keep. And now, once again, he's pressuring the back of Wam01, who himself is switching into Arbaletier.
Arbaletier would be really nice for him here, but I'm seeing one thing which kind of spells doom for Wam. Look at the food upgrades that he has from his mill.
Ouch, that's ugly. It's very ugly at this stage.
He's missing out on 30% food income right now. He could be at 3,000 food per minute. Instead, he's sitting at 2,000. That hurts so much, actually, at this stage of the game.
Yeah, as Core is pointing out, not a single layer of melee armor even. And when you're fighting Palace Guards, when you're fighting Fire Lancers, but especially against Palace Guards, that also hurts.
Yeah, he's basically missing out on 30% damage reduction against these units. And now he's trading not the most efficient trade, and he's kind of bleeding from all sides. Now Beasty is pushing on the gas pedal here. He's making so many units. He's got more military out on the field right now than Wam. And he's just so active with them, always in the back of Wam's economy, running around, getting kills. He always knows where the villagers, where the eco units are, where the traders are with this landmark. And yeah, it looks like this is going to be probably death by 1,000 cuts here for Wam. He kind of played this for a really, really late game kind of idea with going for 3 town centers. Against China, I don't think that's the best idea. And we can see, like, he had different timings that he could have gone for in Castle Age with the Royal Bloodlines, in Feudal Age with the Knight advantage. And instead, he chose to go for this really late game kind of approach. And it's not paying off right now. Really, really isn't paying off right now. And it's just that one situation where every player at one point in time is going to find themselves when they play against the Chinese in the late game and about to get overrun.
Yeah, it's also a massive difference in the ecos now. Very low wood income, very low gold income for Wam compared to what Beasty has, not even mentioning the food income. If this goes into a war of attrition, a very late game, that eco will propel Beasty to big victory, but it likely won't go very much longer because now Wam is bleeding a lot of eco. He's down by 50 eco, he's down by 20 population right now, but that will likely start swinging even more so in the favor of Beasty in the next few minutes.
Yeah, mind you, Beasty, he isn't even actively trying to fight these units. Most of the time, he's just microing his units to take down villagers, and it shows because Wam right now, he's only sitting on 80 economy units with 3 town centers and trade. That is not where you want to be now. He was able to keep that keep alive, and he does have a lot of military out on the field, but he's just going to get outmassed. Well, not really outmassed, but like outproduced over the long term because BC is sitting at 4,000 food per minute almost, while Wam is struggling to reach 2k food per minute right now.
And now Arbaletri are just getting massacred by those Fire Lancers. They will try to make a hold happen here with the Keep, but the Keep gets taken down by the Bombards. As you said, Wam is bleeding a lot of eco right now. He still has a strong standing army, but attrition is starting to kick in. His food bank almost disappearing. You see Beasty even walling in this one market to the south to prevent any kind of trade from going on. Even if those traders get back, though, it's just a constellation price at this point for Wam. His army still doubles Beasty's, but this unit composition isn't going to be sustainable in the long run against Fire Lancers.
Yeah, now Wam is going to try to go for kind of what feels like the last kind of move that he can go for, the last kind of push attempt. He's going to be running by a keep, which is suboptimal with boiling oil. He's going to be taking a lot of damage on his Arbaletri, kind of unlucky pathing there for him with that little palisade wall that Beasty put up there. He wants to go onto that food economy from Beasty, but that is behind another layer of palisade walls, and Arbaletri, they don't do the most amount of damage to walls, and yeah, this is going to be rough because at the same time there's just Fire Lancers all over the base from Wam right now below 80 villagers and falling even further and further behind at this point. I think, yeah, there he goes.
Yeah,
Wam calls the GG, and it's going to be a 2-1 here for Beasty.
Yeah, just Chinese coming online at that very late game you mentioned. There were multiple power spikes you felt like for Wam, but those walls slowed down so much. Beasty managed to buy so much time with those walls, and Wam never really was able to capitalize on that army advantage that he held for so long. In the end, of course, late game China, just a juggernaut, very difficult to deal with, and Beasty uses that against Wam here. Beasty maintains his position here in the top 4, whereas for Wam, he's going to get another loss. Still is in the race for the playoffs, of course, here in day number 3, but Beasty looking stronger and stronger, making a case for himself for that top 2, which would move him into the semifinals after day number 5, if he can stay in there in the top 2.
Yeah, exactly, and now we can see it again, looking at the food economy. 20,000 more food here for Beasty, also 10,000 more gold. It's just that once you let China get to that late stage of the game without any really major fights happening, this is what happens. You get to the point where you just get overrun. Yeah, this was just a kind of conflict of game plan here, I would say. I mean, Wam doesn't like to play against China, and I think he just kind of went for the wrong kind of game plan, wrong kind of approach here with playing this with 3 TC frames.